So, Adrian, welcome to Menai Science Park. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Right, I'm Adrian Standerwick. I am the owner and managing director of Active CCTV and Surveillance Limited, and I've been living in North Wales for about 25, 26 years now. So love it round here. My children have grown up round here, and it's a lovely place to live. And with everything that's going on now with Park Snowdonia, with Zipline, with Lleckwyd Mines, I can really see North Wales booming over the next probably 5 to 10 years, which is great for the local economy and hopefully great for me because that means more people have got money to spend on CCTV.
Very true. Right, it's you that's made the decision to have a discussion at the Science Park. Why?
I came here back in November for a networking event that was I think it was put on by yourself or by Bank of Wales, wasn't it?
That's right.
Development Bank of Wales, and was just so impressed with the whole kind of setup here. And once again, it's something that's right on our doorstep that we can make the most of. That most people wouldn't even realise was here if they're the other side of the Conway Tunnel. And when you look at the facilities around here, it's absolutely brilliant. So it's good to be back, and hopefully we'll be back a lot more over this next 12 months.
What are your future ambitions?
I think my ambitions have changed somewhat over the last probably 6 months. As a company, to be going 20 years, sometimes you can kind of get a little bit sucked into just the mundane. Another day rolls into another day. And it's finding that motivation to keep going, keep expanding, keep introducing new products, finding new customers. And there are times when it's very easy just to sit back and say, do you know what, this is nice and comfortable. But at the end of this year, my middle son, Matthew, will be turning 30. He probably won't thank me for saying that. And I want to be in a position to have a business that is successful, that it has a value, and it is something that I can kind of gradually pass across to him, for him to then take on to the next stage. So for me, it's a case of 10 months of real hard graft, of putting our name out there, so that when people think about CCTV, the first thing they think about is get active CCTV. And that's my kind of aim for this year, is to connect more with interesting people. And one of the things I think I bounce off is going in to meet somebody perhaps for the first time, like I did with yourself, and there was that immediate connection where it's like, this is a guy I'd like to spend a bit of time with, like to get to know, and if we can do some mutual business together, then even better. And for me, it's those connections, those contacts initially are more important than the business, because the business will follow, and that's a kind of given. If people find me to be reliable, honest, trustworthy, the type of guy they want to do business with, then that's most of the job done. The rest of the job then is just making sure the numbers are in the right order. If we can do that as well, then in most cases it results in an order. Because at the end of the day, everybody needs CCTV, whether it be for your home, your office, your workplace, wherever you are, at some point or another, CCTV is going to be something that might crush your mind.
We met up, probably was it a few weeks ago, in your office, and you were saying how you've changed your marketing budgets to be more, focused on what you spend and what the value you're getting back. So tell me about that journey.
Like I said before, I think I'd been in a situation where I'd pretty much stuck my head in the sand for the last probably 5 years. And in that time, I hadn't really kind of taken note of what was going on in the marketplace. We had our regular contracts, we had our regular business, so it wasn't a case of having to go out and find new work. And what that did is we just settled for the norm. So we spent so much a month with the Yellow Pages, and I never really kind of took much note as to what we were actually getting for our money. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, hang on a minute, we need to look at this. And when I looked at what we were spending to what we were getting, it's like, hang on a minute, that's not good value at all. And I was really cross with myself because I'd always prided myself on my marketing and my sales skills. Right back from going back to 25 years ago, when I was looking after the sales and marketing department for other companies, looking after all their training, running the telephone canvassing departments, all of that, to now being in a situation where you kind of take your head out of the sand, you look around and find that everything's moved on. It's all social media. You have to make sure your website's right. You have to make sure your SEOs are correct. And all this kind of, all of a sudden, all this new jargon. And we're nowhere near there. We need to basically sort our stuff out. And what I've done now is taken that budget that we were spending with Yellow Pages, and I've sectioned it down to get value for it. So we've joined various different networking groups. We've taken time out to spend on getting our website completely redesigned. I've invested quite a bit of time with, say, LinkedIn. But that doesn't mean that there's no room for the old way of marketing. And the great thing was, just before Christmas, I was going past premises, spotted that their cameras were perhaps a little bit old, and just dropped in, left a card, said, look, just give me a call. If you're interested, give me a call. And literally just before Christmas, the phone went, and there was the person I dropped the card into, can you come and see me? So what I have learned is that with marketing, the old still works, and importantly is seeing my face and putting a picture to that company, a person to that company, but also to if you like, cast the net wider with other types of social media and your website. And hopefully that will then work and bring more people into connection with us. The other thing is with CCTV, it's a hungry animal. In other words, we go in, we fit the cameras, and even 2 weeks ago, we did a job where I actually fitted those cameras 14 years ago, and they were still going. So once we've done that job, invariably that's us done for the next 5 to 10 years. We can still look at, we still look after the customer with things like the maintenance and service or backup or technical help that they may need. But invariably, once those cameras are in, that's our job done. So we now need to find another customer, and so on and so forth. So it does keep us busy.
What are you most proud of?
What am I most proud of? With business or just generally?
Both.
Right. With business, the fact that we're still trading after 20 years. We've gone through 2 recessions. We've gone through a massive technical rejuvenation, I suppose, whatever you want to call it, where the cameras nowadays are sort of 5 megapixel, 8 megapixel, whereas when we first started, it was the old 24-hour time-lapse VCR, with changing the tapes every day, and 470 TVL cameras. What I mean by that is that the picture quality compared to what it was to what it is now is just no comparison at all. Extremely clear images. Even the newest ones where you're actually getting colour pictures in complete darkness, which is unbelievable. So from a business point of view, I'm proud that we've been able to keep trading, to be able to put a roof over my head, and continue building our brand as we have done. On a personal basis, my biggest, I wouldn't call it a triumph, but something that I am very, very proud of, is the fact that just over 3 years ago, as you know, I lost my son. And once we'd found out what the cause was behind what caused that, we launched a fundraising various different fundraising events, to raise money for DFIBs, where we would match fund them. But more importantly is the ECG screening of 14 to 35 year olds. And in 2 weeks' time, we actually will be putting on another screening weekend, the 8th and 9th of February at Llandrithod College, where we will screen another 200 youngsters, which will make 600 youngsters screened, ECG screened, since we lost Sam. And that for me is an incredible testament to people locally. We've raised over £50,000, and that's pretty much from Llandudno to Prestatyn, which is a fairly small area. I'd love to know actually how many people live in that area compared to what we've raised. And that's been a massive support, massive encouragement to us as a family in the fact of their love, their support to us in the money that we've raised, and being able to give back to our local young people to hopefully make sure that another young man or a young woman doesn't just go to sleep one night and not wake up, or is playing football on a football pitch and suddenly drops down, or is out for a jog. You know, this is so important to me, and that's another reason why in December, hopefully we will be in a position where I can take a back seat and then focus a lot more on the fundraising and the awareness of what we're trying to do. So that's pretty much the business and the other side as well.
Brilliant. Last question then.
Okay.
What would you go back and change?
Oof. What would I go back and change? The one thing I would go back and change is knowing what we know now about the symptoms, i.e. heart palpitations, blackouts, dizzy spells, and just general feeling of being unwell. Thursday night, Sam had turned around to us and said, I've got these really bad heart palpitations, Dad. And it's like, you know, and my wife turned around to him and said, well, I'll get you the doctors tomorrow. And Sam turned around and said, look, I've got this to do, that to do, that to do, and then I'm going to Liverpool with my mates. So book it for Monday, Mum. And Monday never came. And if I could change one thing, it would be that on that Thursday night, we took Sam to A&E and we had him screened. And if we had, there's a bloody good chance he'd still be here. And what is crazy for me to comprehend is that early last year, I had ECG, echo and thermonuclear imaging, and it turned out that I had almost identical complaint to Sam, where my coronary artery was literally completely furred up. I had an angiogram in July, and I actually had a stent done in July the 22nd, so just over 6 months ago. Sam could have had exactly the same thing. And if we'd known then what we know now, then there we are. So what would I change? I would change that night. And I wouldn't care about anything else, whatever, whether I was a multi-millionaire, whether I had the most successful business ever, whether no money in any bank could ever repay or replace the loss of Sam. And I look, and I'm so grateful because, you know, we are very fortunate as a family. You know, I've got 3 other amazing kids. I've got 4 fantastic grandchildren that are my inspiration, that lift me up when I've had a pretty crappy day. And for that, I'm extremely grateful. So that's me. I'm hoping that people who watch this video get to know a little bit about who I am. And if you're thinking about CCTV, then maybe get active and give us a call. Cheers, Owen.
Thanks, mate. Cheers. Go on, ring it. Oh, goalie there. Last defence.